Johann Sebastian Bach, Violin Concerto and Air on a G-String, a CD I bought from the British Heart Foundation in High Wycombe for £2. I don't usually listen to music written before Beethoven and the Romantics. The Baroque precision does not appeal to my taste for at least a modicum of disorder and dissonance. I know J.S. Bach is important, and I finally bought a CD in a charity shop. Listening to it whilst driving, I am struck by how many musical styles from the much nearer past today sound more dated. It is perhaps advertising or films that keep us hearing this music. It is the sound of Enlightenment men in wigs and frock coats discussing philosophy in geometrically perfect gardens. It is mad kings and founding fathers. For all the precise multi-layered, multi-instrument pieces of independent bass and prominent counterpoint that seem like mathematical exercises, there are some very moving melodies. You may be lulled into a state of not paying that much attention to some pleasantly meandering passages, comprising of strings of notes, each playing something interesting and coming together in a satisfying tapestry, only to have your attention seized by a tune like Sheep May Safely Graze that could cause a flutter in the most unflappable of hearts. Bach mixes prissy with strident and religious with the secular, in constructing a musical architecture to celebrate the divine and match the mathematical perfection of the construction of the universe. During Bach's lifetime, the pitch of the notes in the octave were redefined. It had been that a keyboard was tuned to give a series of perfect intervals. This was called pure temperament and would only work in related keys. The system was changed and a compromise was found, whereby the intervals were slightly changed so everything is very slightly out of tune, but it is possible to play in any key. This is called equal temperament. Bach used this change in order to write a series of pieces called the Well-Tempered Clavier. For this he wrote a piece in every major and minor key. Much of J.S. Bach has been borrowed by popular and rock music. I know of 2 guitar solos that use Jesu Joy of Man's Desire. One by Yes on their second album and one by The Byrds. The Beach Boys based the song Lovely Linda on that melody. His Toccata and Fugue has been performed by just about every prog rock band with an organ and was a hit for the classical rock crossover band Sky. The influence of J.S. Bach can be heard every time a guitarist runs down a bass string while playing a chord, or when the bass plays notes that are not part of the chord. Songs like Waterloo Sunset, Park Life, and most famously Whiter Shade of Pale, which is a variation on Bach's Air on a G-String, which is on this CD. When I was young, a jazz version of Air on a G-String was used to advertise Hamlet cigars. The composer of that version, Jacques Lussier, became famous for his jazz Bach interpretations. Likewise, Wendy Carlos, back when she was called Walter, became famous for an album called Switched on Bach, which was one of the first popular uses of the Moog synthesizer. The music of Bach is perfect for sequencing on synthesizers, and probably his biggest influence has been on synth pop. Bach music has a pulse and a danceability even without percussion. One of my favourite facts about J.S. Bach is that because in German notation B-flat is called B and what we call B is called H, in his final piece he wrote a 4-note motif that spells out his name. Johann Sebastian Bach.